I'm Realtor Deb Tomorrow, and this is At Home in Bloomington, brought to you by Karen Russell, Ruoff Home Mortgage. We profile the people, places, and resources that make Bloomington, Bloomington, and help you live your best life. At Home in Bloomington. Hello and welcome to At Home in Bloomington. I am your host, Realtor Deb Tomorrow, and I am joined as usual, despite what it says, Karen, on my Starbucks cup, which says, my name is Jessica.
Hey, Jessica.
I'm here with Karen Russell, whose name is Karen. Yeah, when I go to Starbucks, which is like once a year, people struggle with my name. I don't know why.
If you say Deb.
Yeah. I just had it last weekend. I had to give my name, and my name was on a list for something, and she just could not understand what I was saying.
It's like 3 letters.
I don't know.
Okay.
I get Beth sometimes.
But they could do Jessica. That's a pretty long name.
Well, I mean, I spell Jessica with a K. They usually misspell it with a C, but, you know, I forgive them for that. But I don't understand why people give their real names at Starbucks, because if their names are difficult. Well, I mean, why?
Because you want to see that spelled correctly on your $10 whatever you purchased at Starbucks in your not medium-sized cup, but it's a medium
It's
cup.
a medium.
Jessica.
I know nothing about Starbucks. This isn't
either.
even coffee, but there you go. Anyways, hi, Karen. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for
Karen
having
is our
me.
show sponsor. She's the best damn lender in the state of Indiana, Ruoff Home Mortgage. And we are going to get right to it today because we already did like half a show just sitting here chatting with our guest before we actually started recording. So I was going to tell you a couple of things about this guest since you don't know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I met this guest through Jamie Schwartzman, who's the owner of Buffalo's.
All right.
So that maybe makes sense as to why, I know Karen's making notes.
Yep.
So that makes sense why, you know, we like Jamie.
We like Jamie.
So obviously we like our guest.
Yes.
Right? So here's what's interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
You have been, and this guest is representing a facility in town. You have been in this facility. I know this
In
because
the
I have
daytime
been
or the
in
nighttime? Is it a daytime facility?
I would
or a
say
nighttime?
both.
Okay.
I would say both.
Okay.
And I've been in that facility with you.
That kind of narrows things down. But we've been on lots of field trips here lately. So,
But I feel like you and a large portion of the Bloomington population haven't even scratched the surface as to what's going on in this facility. So I welcome Mary Pridemore, and she is with The Warehouse.
Oh, yeah. I've been in, yes. No, I'm trying, sorry, I had to finish my thoughts. I forgot that people are actually listening to this. They're not looking at me going, oh yeah, they can see my face, which is doing the thought. Yes, so the home show and
some of the holiday markets. You just had a big one.
Stone Mill Market.
Stone Mill Market, which I think probably half of the town went to.
Yeah. It's under a new leadership, so this was the first run with the new leadership, and I couldn't name names for that. Yep. I'm not involved in programming that or anything, but this time, instead of being in the way back part of the facility, it was in the event room, so it was climate controlled.
Okay, nice.
And they normally have like maybe 1,000 people that visit that, but I think there were 700, but they didn't advertise this time.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm on the same page. Is that the Woolery Mill one that we'd gone that one year?
We went to the Woolery, and it was freezing.
Okay, so we're talking about this past weekend with the Bloomington Handmade Market.
No, this is a different Stone Mill.
Woolery, it used to be called Woolery, and now it's called Stone Mill Market. I think there was some other market called Woolery that they found out about in somewhere driving distance, so they changed the name.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
But the freezing part should resonate with you because you have been at the warehouse in the back part that isn't climate controlled.
Yes.
For the home show.
Yes, and it's a concrete floor. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and frozen. But how big is that building? So we're talking about, it's 1525 South Rogers. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk a little bit about the history of the building, and then I want to talk about everything that's going on. I toured the building with our guest, Mary, last week before, and I just kept saying, how do you even do this? It's just daunting to me. So how big is the building?
It's 5 acres.
5 acres. The building is 5 acres under one roof. There's nothing I think that would even compare to that in Bloomington. Maybe the football stadium, but it's a different roof.
I'm just sitting here because in my mind, the only time I've seen that inside of that space is at the home show.
Mm-hmm. And you probably came in and out through the back, so you didn't.
I did as a vendor, yeah. So
So we're going to do I want to kind of, at some point in the show, we're going to virtually walk through the property, because I do think there are people that have taken advantage of portions of the building, but not really the full scope of it, which is massive. So can you tell me a little bit about the history of the warehouse?
Yeah, it originally was the RCA storage facility for the televisions. Once they were produced and they were waiting to be shipped, they were stored there, and then they'd be loaded onto the trains on the B-line. I don't even know when the building was built. I probably should know that. But I know that it sat empty for over 20 years.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. And then somebody in our town had a vision for this exceptional, huge youth facility, and approached our executive director, Dave Weil, who has a not-for-profit called Real Life Media, and Real Life Media's focus is prevention for addictive behavior. So it's a spinoff of Teen Challenge. If you've ever heard of Teen Challenge, it's a international rehab program. It's very successful, and it's in every country, everywhere. And Dave Weil, he wanted to return Teen Challenge kind of to a prevention side of things, rather than just waiting until somebody's already in an addiction situation. And so he was going out doing school assemblies and that kind of thing, using media and the arts. And so this couple who had this dream for this youth facility said, well, we have the finances to purchase a place, but we don't really know what to do after that. And so they approached him to be the visionary for it. And originally they were looking at facilities that were a quarter of the size, I mean, much smaller. And Dave kept saying, no, this isn't big enough, until he walked into the facility we have now. And he was like, yes, I can work with this.
Yeah.
And so it was purchased, and it is completely privately funded. It's not, we don't get any money from the city or the state.
Or United Way or anything like that.
No. We are listed as a place with United Way, but we don't get a whole lot through that. And really that's just because we haven't had a development director until me. So the executive director was doing all the jobs for the longest time. And, so I think we are listed with United Way, but I don't think very much comes in from that.
When did this couple purchase the facility? Has it been about 10 years?
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but that location is phenomenal now with the Switchyard Park that's going in.
Right.
And I don't know if they knew that 10 years ago.
No, Switchyard Park wasn't even
I mean, it was a thing, but it was like so buried in bureaucracy and not, in the government, and it wasn't a thing for the public's knowledge.
Yeah,
I think.
None of us knew it was.
Yeah, so I think that just ended up being really fortuitous. That I think probably some of the locations they were looking at that were smaller, they have to be warehouse space that would be buried in some industrial park kind of thing. And you guys are on a bus line near downtown on the B-line. I mean, you can't get any better than that.
Yeah, and the part, the community surrounding us is really. That's important for us. That's the demographic of people that we're wanting to make. I mean, it's open to everybody, but to be walking accessible to that part of town and that community, because there's so many young people that just don't have access to go play someplace safe and go be somewhere. And so that's a great ideal location for that.
What is the mission of the warehouse?
The warehouse's goal is to provide safe place to play and enjoy the arts, and for the community, for all demographics, all ages, shapes, sizes, nationalities, everybody to be at. We are a faith-based facility. We're not set up as a religious 501c3. We're an educational one, so that we can write grants specifically for that avenue. And also because we don't hold any kind of religious classes or Bible studies or anything like that. We're not making anybody adhere to anything. But our goal is to be able to develop relationships with people so that they can see and feel and hear the love of Jesus by having a relationship with us. So, but it's a free place to come and play and do fun things.
And you welcome, like you said, all people. I know when I was going through, you've got Jewish group that has some services there.
Yeah, there are people that rent from us. So one new man rents space from us to hold services on Saturday, and we've had people of different nationalities come and ask if they can rent space, and we're totally fine with that. We do tell them up front. Now we have posters and things, with scripture verses, and we're not going to take them down, but if you're okay with that, then you can rent.
Right. But it's also not like people are coming up to you if you're taking advantage of the facility and saying, hey, let's pray together, unless you show an interest in that kind of thing. So I guess I just want to say that it really, when you walk through and you get a tour and you see the people in the facility, you really do get a sense that it's for everyone, regardless of what, your belief system is. And I think that was one of the things we talk about on the show a lot, are misconceptions. And that was a misconception I had because, I had a friend for a while, and she would post on Sundays that she was at the warehouse. And so for the longest time, I was like, must be a church.
Well,
I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, we did have some churches that rented space from us at different periods of time, and it was kind of temporary while they were building a building or they were in transition. And so,
You know what I thought the warehouse was when I first heard about it, which was through Jack's school. And they used it as, so like if they were running like a classroom contest between like the grades or whatever, the winner would get to go, or the winning class would get to go to the warehouse. And so in my mind, and I didn't know what that was, I thought, oh, this must be this like secret place. No, the secret place where the teachers go. In my mind, I thought it was like a teacher type of organization where they would do like more collaborative thinking, and you know what I mean, with like other teachers in the county. That's what was in my head. I'm like, oh, they get to go and have fun at this great,
some fun educational activities.
Yeah.
Well, that's what can be.
But that's what I thought the warehouse was, because Jack would be like, we've got to win this contest so we can go to the warehouse.
Well, there has been some confusion because there's a thing called the teacher's warehouse, and that's
maybe
specifically
what I was
for like school supplies and that kind of thing.
Maybe that's what I was getting at.
I could see especially if your kid's class is going to go there and you've heard teacher's warehouse, you would put those things together. So.
So hopefully, one of my goals for today's show is to kind of clear up some of these misconceptions and let people know what resources are out there. So let's talk about some of the programs that you have. There's a lot going on, and I was trying to figure out, like, how do we organize this in a way that will make sense for listeners. But I think one of the best ways is that you walk in the front doors, which are the doors that I usually go in, which is on the Rogers Street side. And there's a desk there, right?
Yeah, there's a check-in desk. So we don't take anybody's names. We just have people initial and put the time they came in, and really just so that if there were an emergency, we have an idea of how many people are in the building, so we can try and account for everybody.
And is everyone required to have a waiver as well?
Yes, that's our goal, that they need to have a waiver on file. And we keep those for a year and then just ask for a new one to be filled out.
And those are online as well on your website. So
it's can't be digitally filled out, but they can download one.
Okay, yeah. So you walk in, you just do a quick sign in. And the first room, I can say room, but they're halls. I mean, they're just ginormous spaces. And there's a lot going on in that first entry hall. I think the first thing that catches your eye is the play equipment. So talk a little bit about what you have there.
Yeah, that's one of our newer additions. There's play places, and they have different age ranges on them. So the closest one to the front door is 8 to 12. Not that younger kids can't go on there, but it's just kind of age suggestion. But older than 12 cannot go on it. And then the next one down would be 3 to 8, I believe it is. And then the one back around the corner that isn't anything that's high climbing. It's just little foam shapes and toys on a matted area. That's for little bitties, so 0 to 3.
And one of the big uses of that is a preschool program where it's sort of like a park under roof. Is how you kind of call it.
It's a great description. It's parents and preschoolers time. So yeah, exactly. It's not a drop off situation. No lessons or anything. But yeah, if you treat it like if you were to go to a playground with your kid or a park, you wouldn't just leave them there. You would supervise. So we just have somebody at the check-in table. But other than that, we don't have supervised things. But and it's available the goal of it is for those parents who have young ones at home who aren't in school yet, and maybe it's messy outside and you need a place to go. So those hours run during the school year on school days. So if for example, coming up on fall or Thanksgiving break, it's not going to be open to everybody because that's just for parents and preschoolers. So only that part of the building is open from 10 to 1.
Okay, great. But I thought that was an amazing idea because not just that part of the building is conditioned. So in the summer, if it's 100 degrees out and you don't want to take your kid outside because that can be dangerous too, you could come in, or when the weather's really bad. And I know there's a lot of parents that are looking for ways to burn. You nod like how do I burn this kid's energy off when the weather's bad?
Actually, the parents and preschoolers doesn't run during the summer because then we have parents trying to bring in, they may have older siblings, and that gets hard because then we have to say, well, actually. But we do have art programs and other things that happen in that same space during the summer.
So another thing, when you walk in the front doors, that off to your right is an art area, and then off to your left is a library area.
Right. And the library is, the things you would find in there are really conducive to homeschooling things. So we basically had a lot of donations from homeschooling type groups or individuals. And it's kind of a take and donate as you will. There's no checkout system to it. It's just take what you want and use it for as long as you want and then bring it back type scenario.
One of the things I thought was really a great idea that Mary was telling me about when I was touring the facility was that this is becoming a popular place if you for families that have supervised visitation situations.
Oh, I
because
bet.
Instead of going to like a social worker's office and you're just sort of sitting in somebody's office trying to bond with your child, you have play, you have art, you have a reading nook kind of thing. So I think that is incredibly valuable for rebuilding relationships between parents and children.
I think because I can only see the layout as when we do the home show. And I keep talking about that because even if you come in through those front doors, like I'm not paying attention to the rooms or what's going on because my focus is to get. I think the way they kind of block it off to kind of guide you to back where it is. Yeah, that I just kind of follow it that way and So
next time you have to stop and take a look around because it's really very impressive, and there are some rooms that you probably haven't even seen, and we're going to talk about some of that when we come back from break. The one thing I want to leave this segment with is just making sure people understand all of this is free, 100% free.
And what are the hours? I know you were just mentioning it was like...
That's fine. Parents and preschoolers time is from 10 to 1, Monday through Friday. And then general open hours are from 3 to 7, Monday through Friday. And most Saturdays, 1 to 3. We just, every once in a while, we'll have an event that we close for on Saturday.
Gotcha. All right, we're going to take a break, and we will be back. You are at home in Bloomington.
Hi, this is Karen Rastel with Ruoff Home Mortgage. Did you know there are low or no down payment options available? If you're interested in buying a home but not sure about your options, contact me today at 812-606-7653. Together, we'll make your dreams of home ownership come true. Ruoff Home Mortgage is an Indiana corporation licensed by the Indiana Department of Financial Institutions. This is not an offer for extension of credit or a commitment to lend. All loans must satisfy company underwriting guidelines. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 141868.
This is your Real Estate Realist. Practical advice on buying and selling real estate based on my experience closing over 800 home sales. You know you need to fix your credit, but where do you start? Can you do it alone? Here are some things you need to know. Number 1, your first step should be to pull your entire credit report and go through it page by page. You can do this at annualcreditreport.com. You can pull your credit report once per year from each credit bureau at no charge. Do not enter in a credit card. You don't need to. It's a good habit to pull your credit report from one credit bureau every 4 months to review for errors. If your credit situation is overwhelming to you, you may be tempted to contact a credit counseling service. Do your research first. The Better Business Bureau is a good resource for that. There are shady and non-shady credit counseling services. The shady ones charge you a bunch of money that you could use to pay off your debt, and all they do is dispute everything on your credit report, even the legitimate stuff. That may raise your credit score briefly, but all of those disputes could still impact your ability to get a mortgage. And in the end, if the charges on your credit report are legit, they will still be there and it will catch up to you. The non-shady credit counselors act as your accountability system. You still pay them to help you. They will work with your creditors to try to lower your interest rates while putting you on a payment plan so that you can systematically pay off your debt. Most of their actions are things you can do yourself. You can always try to negotiate interest rates with your creditors. But in some cases, I have seen it be really helpful to people who need that accountability system. So I'm not giving it a total thumbs down. Learn more about managing your credit score by listening to my Real Real Estate Today podcast, episodes 35, 36, and 34. You can find it on iTunes, my YouTube channel, and at www.athomeinbloomington.com.
My name is Brittany, and Deb Tomorrow is my realtor. She helped me buy my first home. I enjoyed working with Deb because she was patient, thorough, and made the experience fun. Deb should be your realtor too. And now, back to the show.
Hey, welcome back to At Home in Bloomington. We're with our guest, Mary Pridemore of the Warehouse. Before we get back to her and our audio tour of the warehouse, I want to share our Facebook follow for this episode, which is A Joyful Companion, Pet Sitting, and Dog Walking. Karen, you can't get a dog?
I don't know if we're still on that same page to do that, because we were talked about doing that before the end of October.
Right.
And here we are into November. I don't see it happening right now.
Gotta get a dog.
I saw some cute ones that Jean from your office posted, and we want one of those.
Right.
But I'm sure it's already gone.
Right. Well, if you get a dog,
yes,
and you ever have some like really long days at the office, or you have to go out of town to visit a family member, this is a great resource, because I know we're always trying to, obviously I have 3 dogs, find people to help with the dogs. And it may just be, because it's a long day, you need someone to come over and let them out or walk them or whatever. We have several great services here in Bloomington, but A Joyful Companion is one of my favorites. Kelly runs that show over there. She actually walks Eurus's mom's dog. She has a Siberian Husky who is sweet as can be and has a ton of energy, and she comes and walks them every day. But whether it's an occasional stop by or daily walking or longer term pet sitting, Kelly is my go-to. And follow A Joyful Companion Pet Sitting on Facebook, because she's always posting adorable pictures of dogs and the animals that she's taking care of.
I'll go and like the page so that Jack can start hounding us more about getting the dogs.
Oh, get it? Hounding you about getting, you're funny. All right, let's get back to the warehouse. So we have walked in the front doors and talked about the play areas. We've mentioned that there's a little library area and that there's also an art area, but I want to talk a little bit more about the art area, because as I was touring the facility, Destiny complimented me on what I was wearing, which I thought, coming from an art person, was a high compliment. So want to make sure we give a shout out to her.
That's awesome. She is great.
Yeah. And so is she doing classes or just has supplies there? Or tell me what's going on over there.
Oh, man, she has just done an amazing job with the art program. She came to us. She was a teacher in the Indianapolis School District, and met us because she was at a Hoosier to Hoosier sale, which happens in the back of the warehouse. And she just loved what we did. And she's like, well, can I just volunteer to give some drawing lessons, in the afternoons? And we were like, sure. And that's how it started, just a table and her giving some drawing lessons. And now she works for us only. And we have pottery wheel. We have a couple of them. We have a kiln. She does multimedia type or art projects in that, like they make paper or they do collages or they use all kinds of things, glue them together. I mean, I'm just so impressed.
They just create.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed that she doesn't do like just watercolor or just markers or just, like she truly is an art teacher where she's trying to give exposure to all different kinds of art. And I see her like going, I want to teach this, so I need to get better at it. And she'll be practicing a certain kind of something. And she even does little live feeds on Facebook of her giving lessons on certain things, drawing certain things, things like that. So she's very talented. And
so do you reserve her classes ahead of time?
She does have a calendar, an art calendar on our website that you can look up, and she puts up quarterly. So some of the things you need to pre-sign up for, and you do that in person at the warehouse, like especially the clay classes, because she has to figure out amount of supplies that she needs to set out. I think most of the other classes you could just pop in on, but it would tell you what times and what's happening on what days.
And what's your web address?
www.btownwarehouse.com.
btownwarehouse.com. And are there charges for her? Is there a charge for her art classes? Because I assume there's supplies.
Ones that have supplies like clay, if somebody can afford it, it's supposed to be a $3 charge. We've never turned anybody away, but we do try and take donations for those who can't afford it. But,
$3. Learn how to play with some clay. That's pretty awesome. So definitely check that out on the website. So, and then as we continue through, one of the doors that you took me through that I had never been through before is in the event hall. Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah.
And it's like a big event hall. And I think you're looking to use that space a little bit more.
That's the area where sometimes churches have rented from us. Stages has done things in there, practicing and performing. We have been the venue for Night to Shine, and we will be again in February. That's through the Tim Tebow Foundation if you want to learn more about that. But it's a prom for special needs community. It's very cool. But it's got a stage and all the amazing lighting and sound system and all of that. So it gets used for a lot of different things. Yeah.
And then when you pass through that area, that's into the next, I'm going to call it the middle section, because in my mind, having walked through the building, that we walk through the middle section to then get to where we do the home show and some of the other, the what's it called, student to student sale. That's what it's called. There you go. Whatever. Hoosier sale, which is where they're selling all the stuff that the students left behind that a lot of us go to.
That is, I'm just still, that's so wild to me, because like you said, I'm only in there for the home show.
Yeah.
And I
have your blinders on.
My blinders are on because I'm focused on getting to the back, which I don't even pay attention to everything that I'm passing.
So one of the things going on in the middle section that's kind of off to the side, and so I had never really taken a close look at it, but it's something that is special for the entire state, and that's the skate park.
Yeah.
It's an indoor skate park.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's maybe one other in the state.
I'm not sure. I know that we are the biggest indoor skate park / BMX park in at least the state. I mean, we haven't done a lot of research to see how much farther than that, but I do know that in the winter, when the weather's bad and there's no place else to go, we've got like dedicated skaters and BMXers that come from other states to our facility, because it's the only thing available, really. And I think the one other indoor park you have to pay to get in.
And this is free again. No membership or anything like that. Are the hours similar, the 3 to 7?
Yeah, skate park is 3 to 7.
Okay.
That's during our general open hours. Yeah.
And then Saturdays as well.
1 to 3, yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. And then integrated into that, you're working on building out your climbing
we
area.
Have 2 boulders. One is just a cube, and it's 2 of the sides are completed, and then the other boulder is more, it's got weird angles and a lot more challenging, but we have the full huge padding underneath, up to regulations for that, and it's all bouldering height, so you don't have to be belayed. But we do have some full height walls, belay walls that are not in operation right now. We're gonna move those from one side of the building over to that climbing area eventually.
And then what else do you have going on in that middle section? There's some trampolines, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of trampolines, and they're really nice ones. There's some rings like you would see in gymnastics.
Okay.
Yeah, and
are they the trampolines that are like level with the? Okay.
No, they're up on the stilts, but they're netted, so people can't fall out of them. And we do have a limit that there's only supposed to be 3 people on there at a time. And then we have some table games, as in like ping pong and foosball and things like that. There's a volleyball area, there's some turf, there's a soccer area, there's these things called Gaga ball pits.
You saw that like on your website or something. I was like, I have Lady Gaga? No idea what that is.
I only just learned about it in the last 5 years, but it's kind of a enclosed dodgeball, but so you're just inside a little pen area with those
called team building.
And you're only supposed to hit from the waist down, and if you're the last one that touches it and it goes outside the Gaga ball pit, then you're out, and it's really fun.
Interesting.
There's basketball.
Yeah.
We did set up a little area we call it our training wheel area, and it's just a segmented off with Yodocs, like on the concrete, because what we're running into is littler kids wanting to bring their wheeled things in and go into the skate park, but we didn't want them to get run over by the big people that are in there. So we have a training wheels type area for kids who are learning to skate or learning to ride their bike.
Nice.
But any wheels that come in the building can only be ridden in those enclosed areas. We want people to walk their wheels in the other parts so nobody
that could be mass chaos if you didn't do that, for sure. And this whole thing, you can bring birthday parties there if you're reserved ahead of time.
Yeah, we do have it's $40 per hour just to reserve some space, but it is not a private space. So there are separate tables that we make sure those are for you, but it's not like your own room. We do have plans to eventually build some rooms that would be reserved for birthday parties. But we did have to put a charge on it and start putting that on the calendar because we were just having so many people show up and do birthday parties in the middle of the skate park area and then getting mad that their cake was getting eaten. So.
But I think that's really very reasonable. I'm going to ask Karen if she just had a birthday party at a local establishment.
Yes, and I think we're at that age where we probably won't have any more like that. But it's hard to find something where all the kids can have a good time. These are grade school kids with a reasonable price.
Yeah.
That's
and
indoors.
I think the older grade school kids, like, 10, 11, 12, where they want to be active and they want to be doing things, and here they can. And I know everybody goes to Urban Air. Everybody goes to Urban Air. But this would be, you've got not just trampolines, but you've got, the play areas and skateboard. People could bring their bikes and they can, there's all kinds of things. There's a little bit for everyone there.
We just did Jack's at Urban Air. I know.
With everyone else.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the middle part. Now we get into the back part. Now, right now, the majority of that is being used by Bugs, right?
No, Rising Star.
Oh, Rising Star. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because they're building a new facility, and so
they're
gymnastics.
Probably a third of that back area. So if anybody's ever been in our facility and they've gone to the home show, we're talking about that area that the home show takes place in, or the Hoosier to Hoosier. So they are the third that is on the northeast corner of the building, and they're really great. Yeah. And I should mention too, in that middle section, B-Town Boxing is housed in our facility too. That's not free because that is their livelihood, but they are very integral to the personality of the warehouse. They've just been with us since the very beginning.
Oh, great. And what else goes on in that back section?
Well, we just had our first roller derby event there.
Karen's a huge roller derby fan.
Awesome.
She dreams of it.
It's on my bucket list to be on.
And we were not the people who put that on. Again, it was a rental type thing. The Stone Mill Market used to happen back there, but they still did their loading and unloading back there. Right now, there's not a lot that happens behind that wall. The general public doesn't go back there. It's more rented for different things. So like pickleball groups have come and rented space back there, and disc golf because they want to practice in the off season. And then we've had some, at one time there was some batting practices or some golfing, different things that, like, once the weather gets inclement outside, then the coaches want to bring kids over.
Right.
So
not a lot of options. But you have bigger plans for that back section, right? Because that's the section that will kind of almost abut Switchyard Park.
Yes, exactly. Eventually we will have, and we are going to go up too. There'll be a second level in that southeast corner, but eventually there'll be a weight room, and we'll redo our basketball to be more couple full-size courts and locker rooms, and there'll be a 1,500 person stadium that will be able to play concerts and stuff both inside or open up like bay doors and play into our parking lot that will be adjacent to
I know, right? Karen always, every show, she's like, I have goosebumps. I'm like, I know.
That sounds really,
and that is exactly
really cool.
why I said, how do you, because it's all going to be free. I mean, I'm sure if there's concerts and stuff, there's, but the concept is to still keep it a place for the community, to keep it free. just to keep bringing people in and be a resource, especially for those kids that don't have a lot of things, productive things to do.
And we do different events throughout the year that are still free to the community above and beyond just open hours. So like we had our big Family Fall Festival, which is like a Halloween thing, and there's all kinds of candy given out. And at all of these things that are events for the community, we feed everybody too. So we had lots of food there that was free. At Easter time, we do an Easter egg hunt, and it's gotten better and better each year. So we do a full pancake breakfast for everybody, and then we have it segmented into like the baby area, and where like the babies don't even know what to do with the eggs. It's super cute. Right. And then we have the toddler area where they're picking them up and then putting them back.
And then you have the cutthroat area. Where they're...
And we release the kids in different times so that the parents can like go from one to the other and watch their kids.
Oh, nice.
It's very fun.
How awesome. I want to talk about another event that you had recently because it just cracks me up. You're always looking for kind of new and inventive ways to, one of the things in Bloomington is there's so many nonprofits and, they all need funding. And so how do you make yourself stand out and how do you, get the word out about your cause? So you had a recent project where you needed to do some renovations to bathrooms.
Yes.
And so tell us about the event you did on that, because I think this is going to become one of the things I'm excited to watch the warehouse grow, in the coming years as the events they put on, because I think they're going to put on some pretty fun and unique events.
Yeah, if you've ever been in the warehouse, we only have one women's restroom that has 3 stalls and one men's restroom, and it gets a little crowded. So we really need to build another set of bathrooms. So I called our very first 5K a run for the bathroom. And there was a toilet on our shirt, and the prizes were the awards. We had trophies made out of plungers, painted gold, silver, and bronze, and all of that. So I tried to keep it really thematic.
And I thought that was a great example, and I want to encourage people to follow them on Facebook and watch their website, because I know Mary's got a lot of really great ideas, and these are the kind of events that you can come out and you can have a good time with your family. A lot of the fundraising events are sort of adult only, but I think these are primarily going to be family oriented, but they're going to be fun and they're going to be different, and serving a good cause at the same time. What kind of help do you need from the community to keep this going?
Well, we only have 7 full-time paid staff members, and by full-time I mean we work all of our hours there. Not necessarily getting paid full-time. But we heavily rely on volunteers. So if you want to give back to the community, we would love to have you in our building, and we would love to hear what your talents are and what you enjoy doing and finding a good fit for you. But some of the easy, common things we need help with is running the check-in table. So just sitting at the front desk, greeting people, making sure that they checked in, and pointing them in the right direction if they're looking for something. But it's as easy as that, just sitting at a check-in table. I know that Destiny in our art program is always looking for people who have an interest in art to help teach or help guide or, anything like that with her. And so you can contact her via our website. There's always cleanup that needs to happen. We are, doing different building projects. So if people have any sort of semi-skilled or skilled labor and you want to pitch in, we have a project list that we're building. So we'll be able to send you a list that says, here's the projects that we have available. Here's the approximate number of people needed for each project. If there's a cost associated with it because you're wanting to raise money or whatever to go with that project, we'll have that on there. But it'll be kind of a rolling list.
Do you want is there a minimum age for your volunteers? Are you?
Well, in general, the warehouse, if under age 12, has to be supervised by an adult. If there are kids wanting to volunteer, it would be helpful if they had an adult with them, and we would find some sort of project that you could both do together. I know that there's a youth organization that comes over and does clean up around our property periodically, or does painting on the Beeline side mural. And so we do have school-age kids that will come do things as a group. The Boy Scouts just came and painted the flooring where our volleyball is. So they painted it all gray because it's these snap-together tiles that were all mismatched in different colors. So they kind of made it cohesive and put our warehouse symbol on it.
Nice. So if you've got a service group, that there could be a project or 12 there as well. So, and I wanted to ask that question because I felt like touring the facility, yes, every nonprofit needs funds and monetary donations, but I think there's also just a lot of opportunity to get involved. If you don't have, money to give, but you have some time to give, that there's an opportunity too. And I just want to say thank you for what you're doing for the community because, I as a long time ago, but I remember sort of being that middle school, age and just bored out of my mind sometimes. And, you hear that all the time. As old people now, we're like, these kids these days, they got to do, they're just running around the streets. So giving them something to do and just giving the community another place to
another safe place.
Yeah.
A safe place.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, like to get that energy out, I'm still not sure how like 12-year-olds like have 5 hours of sleep on the weekend and they're up and at it again, like wanting to play and do all, and I still don't get it, but we're starting to get in the weather where it's like we've got to find some place to be instead of our house.
So trampolines, there you go.
Trampolines.
Problem solved. So again, located at South Rogers Street, 1525 South Rogers, right adjacent to the new Switchyard Park. So please check them out. And their website is btownwarehouse.com. No, org?
.com.
.com. Okay. So be sure you check that out as well. It's a great place to get involved. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for listening. And we'll be back with another episode of At Home in Bloomington.
Got a show idea? I'd love to hear it. And be sure to contact me for all your real estate needs and questions too. You can email me at deb@realrealestatetoday.com and follow me on Facebook at Deb Tomorrow Realtor. To contact Karen Rastel for all your mortgage needs, call 812-606-7653 or log on to ruoff.com and go to the Bloomington Center. Thanks to all the Bloomington people who make production of At Home in Bloomington possible. Special thanks to superstar producer Rachel D. Gregorio, digital guru Cynthia Hogan at Monster Digital Marketing for website design and hosting, and video genius Wes Lasher in the production house for engineering the show.